Let's talk about the filth that's starting to come out in the early days of the Diddy trial. This, of course, is P. Diddy. Surprise, surprise, he's a creep. Surprise, surprise, he's done horrible.
Could one man's secret lifestyle spark Hollywood's biggest health scandal? That's the chilling question circling the glittering world of LA right now, one that no publicist can spin and no payout can bury. At the epicenter of this growing firestorm is none other than Sean Diddy Combs, once a mogul of music, now a magnet for scandal. Whispers have turned to roars following bombshell allegations that the bad boy founder may be entangled in something far more dangerous than the criminal charges already stacked against him. According to sources and speculative insiders, a new theory has surfaced, and it's terrifying, that Diddy may have contracted HIV through connections to Instagram influencer Gena Tew, and in turn may have unknowingly passed it along to others in his orbit. If true, this isn't just a celebrity misstep, it's a potential health crisis with A-list casualties.
I start having headaches and fevers. I'm getting really nauseous, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the doctor again, because what the hell?
Now let's rewind just slightly. Gena Tew, a model once seen hanging with the likes of Chris Brown, Nick Cannon, Chief Keef, and others, shocked the internet when she revealed in a TikTok video that she had been living with undiagnosed AIDS for nearly a decade. Her voice trembled, her body fragile and reduced to 65 pounds, as she recalled the moment she learned what had been eating away at her health. Wheelchair-bound, partially blind, and barely clinging to life, Tew's testimony wasn't just heartbreaking, it was terrifying. "I got so weak, I could barely focus," she told her followers, describing days when she struggled to speak. And here's where things get dark.
This is the flight where Diddy said to her,
she testified that
he showed her a video of a freak-off that she participated in and said, if you don't participate in another freak-off when we get to New York, I'm gonna put this video out. I'm gonna send it to your mother.
And that's coercion.
She testified to that.
If the jury
believed her, that's coercion.
Because Tew never named names, but her social feed and known associations did. Photos, tags, and timelines connect her to a startling number of well-known male celebrities. And while she's never directly implicated Diddy, the timing, the geography, and the silent trails of proximity have started to draw attention from internet sleuths and gossip insiders alike. The overlap is impossible to ignore. One theory, whispered by two former party promoters familiar with Diddy's inner circle, claims Tew was spotted at one of the mogul's infamous freak-off gatherings around the same time she would have likely been infectious. Another insists that private DMS exchange between Tew and a member of Diddy's former entourage were deleted shortly after her diagnosis went public. If even one of these connections proves accurate, the implications could be seismic, because these weren't just parties, these were reportedly marathon events of indulgence, secrecy, and zero accountability. We're talking compounds in Beverly Hills, private jets, security teams sworn to silence, and NDAS as thick as the oil rumored to coat the participants. One former assistant turned whistleblower referred to these evenings as ritualistic, claiming that nothing and no one was off limits. Add that to court testimony describing Diddy's fixation with voyeurism, power, and chemically enhanced marathons, and you begin to understand why this isn't just another salacious story. This is a potential outbreak scenario playing out behind celebrity walls, and, according to some, it may already be spreading. The so-called patient zero theory has been picking up momentum across the darker corners of the internet. It posits that Diddy, knowingly or not, became the epicenter of transmission within a tightly knit group of high-profile celebrities, many of whom partied, traveled, and engaged in consensual performance experiences under his direction. We've already seen former associates like Cassie Ventura describe their participation in these nights as something closer to survival than pleasure. And in the aftermath of the trial, with Diddy facing a serious sentence for transporting individuals across state lines for indecent purposes, the theory has gained even more traction. One former house manager alleged that a doctor was flown into a Miami estate in 2021 to conduct private tests for unnamed guests. The results? Sealed. The participants protected. The motive? Speculation points to panic.
So Diddy, after the Cassie lawsuit, gets hit with a bunch of lawsuits, and then ultimately the raids, and then
Gena Tew's story has now become the linchpin in this web of risk and silence. Her very existence, the photos, the overlaps, the timeline, is forcing a growing number of people to ask questions Hollywood has no interest in answering. Why have multiple celebrities quietly canceled upcoming performances and appearances? Why are some insiders claiming that private health settlements are being brokered out of court? And most damningly, what exactly is Diddy hiding about his own health? A nurse at the MDC in Brooklyn, where Diddy is currently held, claims the music mogul was moved to a private isolation wing for non-specified immunological concerns. The Bureau of Prisons hasn't commented. But in the absence of facts, rumors are oxygen. Then come the whispers of payouts, settlements, hush money, and buried contracts, designed to keep the lid on this possible health bombshell. 3 individuals, each connected to Diddy's empire, have reportedly signed 6-figure NDAs in the past year alone, all under vague legal terms related to reputational harm. One source, a former bodyguard currently residing overseas, said he personally witnessed cash exchanges after unplanned health-related incidents during party weekends. Another claims a singer who attended multiple retreats with Diddy was flown to a European clinic last year for private treatment before falling off the public radar entirely. And yet, there's no confirmation. No one is talking. Everyone seems afraid.
And I think when it came to, it's not just the more serious charges, but it's the more complex charges, where the jury, in order to, for instance, find guilt on the racketeering charge, was going to have to find not just that Sean Combs had kicked his girlfriend, had beat people up, had engaged in truly abhorrent behavior, but that he ran a criminal.
But the silence may not last. The courtroom may have spared Diddy from life in prison on the most severe charges, but he's far from safe. He's behind bars, awaiting sentencing, and facing over 60 civil suits, ranging from psychological manipulation to traumatic exploitation. His name has become radioactive. His empire, once sprawling, is bleeding out through legal fees, asset freezes, and the public collapse of his brand. And if the HIV rumors gain traction, or worse, are verified, this wouldn't just be the end of Sean Combs. It could be the unraveling of a whole constellation of stars who partied in his orbit.
Don't trust nobody. In Hollywood, specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
We're talking about a potential domino effect that reaches deep into the entertainment industry. Singers, rappers, influencers, even a few respected actors have been rumored to be connected to these parties. No names officially confirmed yet, but one entertainment lawyer says she's seen at least 3 NDA contracts from late 2023 that contain invasive testing clauses tied to event participation. Why would such clauses even exist unless there was a known risk? One speculative theory claims a luxury wellness spa in Malibu known to cater to celebrities has seen a sudden uptick in long-term private bookings from male clients aged 25 to 45. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe Hollywood is holding its breath.
In a court proceeding that has nothing to do with Wendy's career. Moreover, that were made in front of Wendy Williams. If true, that is outrageous because this judge, one, she's not in the entertainment industry, so I don't know where she would get off opining about that and why that's even relevant to her role as a judge, who's basically the judge of the law, and in this case, judge.
As the media zooms in on Diddy's legal troubles, the health narrative is quietly building in the shadows. And unlike the courtroom drama, this one doesn't require a guilty verdict to change lives. All it takes is one slip, one leaked result, one disgruntled ex-assistant, one misfiled settlement, and the dam bursts. One former choreographer, who worked briefly on a Bad Boy reunion tour, put it bluntly: if even half of what people are whispering is true, careers won't just end, they'll be erased. Which raises the ultimate question. What are the secrets that Hollywood doesn't want you to know, and how far would they go to keep them buried? And it's in that silence, those well-paid gaps between lawsuits and leaked messages, that the shape of a wider system starts to form. For years, Diddy's freak-off culture was dismissed as eccentric, excessive, maybe even enviable. But in the sobering light of these lawsuits and mounting allegations, those private soirees start to look less like wild parties and more like operational hubs for manipulation. According to sworn testimony and leaked statements from Inner Circle staff, these weren't just nights of pleasure. They were tightly controlled environments where Diddy allegedly dictated who did what, with whom, and for how long. And the more power he gained, the more blurred those lines between choice and coercion became.
I'm sorry, I'm just I'm in this moment right now. This is crazy. Sorry. People don't really know how much what it does to you when something that you love is taken from you and thrown away like it don't even matter, and then they move on with their lives and you're stuck. You're stuck during those years. You're still stuck 21 years later.
Former dancers, assistants, and personal chefs have started describing an environment that thrived on obedience and fear. One choreographer claimed she was dismissed after refusing to participate in what she called a performance test, a euphemism used for unscripted encounters that went well beyond rehearsals. A vocal coach who worked briefly with one of Diddy's proteges described being asked to sign a confidentiality agreement after witnessing what he called emotional blackmail by design. He alleged that guests at these parties were sometimes deliberately paired with celebrity attendees who were strategically chosen based on influence, not chemistry. The message, he said, was clear: play along or disappear. What made it all possible was the machinery behind the man, the staffers, collaborators, and corporate backers who either looked the other way or helped maintain the illusion. Some of these names, once shielded by boardrooms and endorsement deals, are now quietly scrubbing their social media histories. According to one entertainment lawyer, multiple executives at a major music label are bracing for subpoenas related to what they should have known during their years of association with Diddy. That same source claimed an internal memo circulated warning employees not to speak to press about anything related to private social gatherings involving bad boy artists or affiliates. The message was short: don't ask questions, and definitely don't answer any. Meanwhile, Diddy himself is reportedly wasting away behind bars. Sources at the MDC facility describe a man almost unrecognizable from the slick-talking mogul who once strutted red carpets with diamond watches and sparkling flutes. His hair, once jet black and freshly trimmed, has grown out in wiry patches of gray. His once impeccable wardrobe has been traded for institutional khaki. A correctional officer who allegedly worked his unit said he's seen Diddy go days without speaking to anyone, requesting only his Bible and blood pressure medication. The same officer claims Diddy's weight has dropped significantly, fueling speculation that there's more going on than just stress and confinement. The prison health rumor mill, already swirling with whispers, took a darker turn after an anonymous tipster claimed that medical staff had conducted specialized screenings under direct orders from outside counsel. When asked why these screenings were kept off the standard inmate health record, the source reportedly answered, "That's the kind of thing you don't question unless you want to be reassigned." Some say Diddy's sudden shift to a private holding block had more to do with immunity risk than personal safety. One report claimed he was briefly transported to a federal clinic for extensive immunoevaluation, though officials refused to confirm the reason. It might be a coincidence, or it might be damage control before headlines catch up.
They saw evidence in the case. They immediately honed in on racketeering, and they started saying, why is this racketeering with one guy? And they're charging this one guy. They had a real problem with that. They did not have a problem with the Mann Act. They found him guilty on the Mann Act, and they hung 6 to 6 on racketeering.
And if Diddy really is sick, physically, mentally, or both, the irony is brutal. The man who once branded himself as the immortal king of LA nightlife now finds himself alone, caged, and fading. His empire, built on spectacle, is now an archive of subpoenas and court transcripts. The same celebrities who once toasted him in rooftop bubbly baths are now quietly distancing themselves or lawyering up. And some, if rumors are even halfway accurate, may be just as exposed as he is. We're already seeing the ripple effect play out in real time. A handful of celebrities who were once photographed leaving Diddy's estates in the early morning hours are now being pulled into the narrative. Some silently scrubbing their social media timelines, others suddenly distancing themselves through vague public statements or last-minute event cancellations. One actor, known for his clean-cut persona and recent family-friendly franchise success, has quietly withdrawn from multiple press appearances following renewed interest in a 2019 tabloid photo of him attending what insiders now describe as a closed-door retreat hosted by Diddy in the Hollywood Hills. A Grammy-winning R&B singer, who just last year praised Diddy as a mentor, was abruptly pulled from a major brand partnership after industry whispers suggested she may have been a regular guest at the now infamous LA parties.
Are you surprised by the evidence that's already coming out in the criminal trial?
No, I'm not surprised. I experienced some of those things. Witness violence.
The damage doesn't even require formal allegations anymore. With the internet's memory and the public's growing cynicism, mere association is enough to ignite a storm. Gossip channels have begun resurrecting old footage, dissecting handshakes, hugs, and VIP booth sightings with forensic scrutiny. A late-night comedy host became the subject of a viral thread after fans unearthed audio from a 2017 podcast where he joked about that wild weekend at Puff's pad. His team has gone into full crisis mode, and though no charges or official accusations have been made, the court of public opinion is already holding trials. On TikTok, on Reddit, and YouTube comments where the sentence is always the same: cancellation by proximity. What makes this different from past scandals is the domino logic that seems to drive it. The moment one name is linked, others start to fall in line, like a sorted game of 6 degrees. The question isn't just who was there, but who knew what and when. The fear inside industry circles is that this isn't a controlled leak or an isolated crisis, but the beginning of an unraveling. For every career that quietly takes a hit, there's another poised on the edge, one headline away from going down in the same spiral. If Diddy falls, he may not fall alone, and Hollywood knows it.
And what's really going to be interesting is the parade of celebrities who we expect to be mentioned and or called into that courtroom. You know, people who we hadn't heard about prior, like Mike Myers, you know, Austin Powers, Mike Myers. Why is he getting called? Why is he on the witness list? That'll be fascinating. And then, of course, there are the no-name, quote unquote, women who are going to have to find every ounce of courage they have.
That brings us to the growing network of settlements. Quiet deals inked behind conference room doors, most never meant to see the light of day. Insiders allege that more than half a dozen victims have been approached with undisclosed offers in exchange for silence. One source close to a recent negotiation described an envelope containing over $500,000 in cashier's checks and a non-disclosure clause so airtight it threatened six-figure penalties for even acknowledging its existence. And still, not all are staying quiet. One woman, represented only by initials in her court filing, refused the payout and filed a fresh civil suit just 2 weeks ago. Her complaint, reviewed by investigative outlets, alleges that a high-level member of Diddy's promotional team attempted to broker a payoff after she was diagnosed with a chronic illness she claims was contracted during one of the mogul's private retreats. If proven, her case could rip the lid off the entire health cover-up theory, and this is where things start to twist into nightmare territory.
They've been afraid of coming forward. They've been afraid of what he could potentially do to them within the industry, what he could do to them professionally, maybe even personally. And so, yes, it's been a dark secret they've held on to for a very, very long time.
Because according to a leaked email from an independent publicist, there's a list, an actual physical list, of individuals flagged by a former security operative as high risk for fallout. The list reportedly includes entertainers, influencers, and even a well-known television personality with a history of charity work. Whether the list is real or exaggerated, the fact that lawyers are already treating it like a map to potential lawsuits tells us one thing: the reckoning has barely begun. What started as a few scattered accusations has mutated into something massive, an industrial web of pleasure, power, and plausible deniability. And unlike most celebrity scandals, this one can't be solved with an apology tour and a comeback album. If even half of the alleged hush payments, secret tests, and sealed settlements are true, then we're looking at the potential collapse of more than just a career. We're staring down the possible implosion of an entire celebrity network that operated for years with no accountability.
Unfortunately, we're all going to take a disgusting trip to his seedy, awful world. You know, the man has no class. He has no kindness in his dark, dark heart. And he's depraved. That's my opinion. This is a depraved, disgusting individual about whom I wish to hear nothing after this trial is done.
Which leaves us with one final question. How far does this go? And how many people knew exactly what they were stepping into when they showed up to those private jet rendezvous, those soundproof suites, those all-expenses-paid weekends with no cameras allowed? This is a scandal that could shake Hollywood to its very core. But how much longer can the truth stay hidden? And who will be next to fall? Let us know what you think in the comments, who's protecting who and what secrets are still in the vault. Stay curious, stay bold, and as always, watch your back, because in Hollywood, the real story is never the one they tell you.